Good morning and happy Monday. Today I'm so excited because we get to make our very own inch ruler using a food box, scissors, quarter, and a pencil or pen that you have at your house. Hopefully all these things that you have, or you can just pull out a piece of paper along with those scissors and quarter. At the end of the day, if you don't have scissors, that's a-okay as well. You can probably find a way to rip it really carefully or use some other utensil to cut. Let's get started. We are going to do this today. Say it with me. I can apply concepts to create inch rulers. I can measure length using inch rulers. Like I said yesterday or on Friday, we can use iteration, which basically means putting an inch tile or some sort of measurement utensil, which could be your finger, which could be a ruler, but putting it over and over and over and over and over again to measure something. So today we're going to use a quarter that is about an inch long to make 12 inches or 1 foot to create our ruler. So as we're working on this today, I need you to be fully focused and doing the little activity, the little craft with me, and let's go for it. So we are going to work on making our very own inch ruler with everyday objects that we have at our house. And I want to show you my finished product. This is what I ended up making. It's my little ruler, and actually, so I tried doing this all with the objects that I'm about to show you today, and then I have my own ruler, and I went ahead and I checked it just to make sure that it was going to be a good representation and a good tool, and indeed, all of them line up, and so I'm very excited that we get to make our very own inch rulers today. So what you need to have with you are these few things. I don't know if you're like me, but I eat food sometimes out of boxes that look just like this. See how I cut out my ruler from a box like this? So if you have some sort of food box like this, I want you to go grab that and have it ready. Make sure it's not dirty or messy or sticky, because we don't need that as we're working on our ruler. But go ahead and get one, because I think almost everyone has something like that. But if you don't, for some reason, have a nice clean food box, then you can absolutely use a piece of paper. That will work just as fine. I just thought this would be kind of fun because we're going to reduce, reuse, recycle, and we're going to use these again and not just throw them away. And also, it's a little bit sturdier so that we can maybe measure things a little bit easier with this versus paper, but you can definitely use paper. So if you go and you get your box with me, see how it's all connected and that makes it really tricky to do anything? I think I need you to get some scissors and a quarter. Those are the other things that you need. Scissors, a quarter, and some sort of food carton or food box. You could also use cardboard. That's just harder to cut. Okay, so this would probably be your best bet. A quarter, if you don't have a quarter, that's okay. We can use our finger to 2 inches, but a quarter is going to be a lot easier. So go ahead and get a quarter if you need to. Get some scissors, and we're going to start off by cutting through the box in one of the corners. So you can choose whatever corner. You could even choose a flat side, but I'm just going to choose this corner right here on the edge, and I'm just going to cut down that corner like this. There we go. Once I've cut it, it should look like a flat kind of piece of paper with little edges. Since I cut on this edge, it's a little bit wiggly, and I don't want that wiggly side to be my ruler. Since I see that this is a straight line right here, I'm going to use this straight line where it's folded, where it's got all this folded stuff on it. I'm going to use that as my straight line. So what I can do is I can fold these pieces back like this. I might even use the other side. So you just do whatever works best for you. But I'm going to tell you what is easiest for me because I think it might be easiest for you. So I've got all those flaps folded back on one long side, and this is going to be my straight edge of my ruler. So as I start making my hash marks along the line, I want you to make sure that you are doing it carefully and that you are doing it with me. As I complete one hash mark, I want you to complete one hash mark on your ruler, being very careful to not have any gaps or any overlaps, and making sure it's not moving all over the place. So let's do it. Do it with me. All right, so I have my quarter. I have my straight edge here on the bottom that I'm going to be using as the bottom of my ruler. I've got my pen. You can also use a pencil if you want. Might actually be smarter, so make sure, like, if you make any mistakes, you can just erase it and redo it. I'm going to do it in pen so that you can see it bright and bold. But like I said, you might want to do it on a pencil for the first run, and then you can go over it in Sharpie or marker or something like that. Okay, so watch as I do my first hash mark. See how I've got my quarter all lined up in the corner, on the bottom corner on my straight edge here. Now an inch isn't going to be down here. My inch isn't down here. The quarter is 1 inch from one side to the other side. It's whole width. So I'm going to draw my line along the middle of the quarter like that. Watch, see, this was my first hash mark. So that means that this right here is 1 inch. Do I put a 1 on the end or do I put a 1 on the hash mark here? I hope you're thinking a 1 on the hash mark because this is what is an inch. It is 1 length unit. It is the space measured so far is 1 inch. We're going to come back and put our numbers in, but for now I just want you to see and remember that this right here, this is 0. This isn't 1. This is 1. What I would do as I keep going, I'm going to line up my quarter on that edge. See how I didn't line it up there. I didn't go down. I didn't move it around. No gaps, overlaps, and it's lined up right next to that hash mark. I'm going to draw my hash mark on the other side of the quarter, just like that. And that is another inch. So far I've made 1, 2 inches. If you don't have a quarter, what you could use is your finger. So watch how I use this very tippy top part of my thumb. I'm gonna lay that bone where it bends right there on that hash mark, and I'm gonna go all the way to the end of my thumb and draw a hash mark there. See how it's a little bit different for me because I'm a teacher and I've got bigger fingers, but it will work for your little fingers. I'm going to keep going with my quarter because that is the best way for me to show. See, this is when I should have used a pencil. That is my next inch. So I've got 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to continue all the way to 12. Now that I've got all 12 of my hash marks drawn, I need to go back and I need to mark each inch, counting all the way from 0 at the very end, all the way up to what? How many inches are in a foot? In a ruler, there are 12 inches. So I'm gonna go back to my very end, and at the very end, I want you to draw a itty bitty 0 to make sure that you remember that here at the end, it is 0 inches. Over here at the first hash mark, what I want you to do is this. Draw a little 1 underneath it and keep going all the way up to 12. As I'm drawing my numbers, I need to remember that the space in between the numbers, that's where the inch is, not at the line. So keep numbering. Oops. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. Now, what I've got to do before I finish is actually cut that top part of it. And what I want you to do is try your best to cut where the hash marks end so that it's all on the end. So if you need to draw a little teeny tiny faint line to help you know where to cut, you can totally do that. I'm gonna do that just to make sure that I get a nice straight line too, because I don't want a wonky ruler. If I need to draw a little bit up to make sure that they're even, you can do that too. This is just trying your best. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right. Now I'm gonna take my scissors, and I've got a few things to cut, right? I've gotta cut this little bottom flappy part off, and then I've gotta cut the ruler. Okay, now that I've got all of my hash marks drawn, it is time to cut. I'm going to take my scissors, and first I'm going to be super careful, and I'm going to cut all of these edges off, the little flappy edges. I'm going to try not to make it super wiggly as I'm cutting. I'm going to be really careful to cut on that edge, on that line. But I'm not perfect, and you're not perfect, so we might mess up, and that is A-okay. Cutting, 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 cutting. All right, I need help. I got to 12, and I don't know where to stop cutting. Where is my ruler gonna end? Is it gonna end out here after 12, or is it gonna end at the 12? It's gonna end at the 12. Yeah, so I gotta cut it really carefully at the 12. See how I've got it at the 12? I'm cutting it a little bit after it so that I can read the number, but I'll know that when I'm measuring, if it gets to that line, if it gets to the hash mark, then I'll know that that's 12 inches. Yep, yep, yep. Now I'm gonna cut along this line here, and I'm gonna try to be as straight as possible. It's so exciting. Nice. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's gonna help me measure things still, because I've got all these hash marks lined up. So if I'm measuring this pin, for example, right? I can put the pin all the way to the 0. I can put it all the way over here, and I can see that it's in between 5 and 6, but it's closer to 6 than it is to 5. So I'm gonna say this pin is about 6 inches. Pretty cool, huh? You can go around your whole house measuring things with this. This is really cool. I have a few questions though. So I want you to tell me, this ruler would measure 12 what? It would measure 12 inches, right? Did you know that this is called a foot? This is a foot long. That's another way to say 12 inches is 1 foot. So if you want to go measure yourself, you can start at the very top at your head and go down your body, and you can see how many feet you are, how tall you are in feet. I'll let you know that I am 5 feet and 11 inches. So I am almost 6 feet tall. So now you can go see how tall you are, or maybe how tall your little sister is, or maybe how tall your mom is, maybe how tall your grandma is, and see their height using your own ruler that you just made, okay? So as you are walking around your house this week, you're gonna use this later on for our lessons and for our videos. But I want you to find at least 2 or 3 things that you can measure around the house. Maybe that's your refrigerator. Maybe that is a pencil. Maybe that is a piece of paper. Maybe that is your TV. Okay, I want you to find 2 or 3 things around your house to measure using this ruler that you made today. All right, that's all that I have for you. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week, and I'll see you later. Bye.